4 seasons lost. In Austin, I stalled, paused. My eyes crawled to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then intent to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in scandal, dice and woes of life. Love deprived, look at her vibe. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, moments reflected off the mirrors and pin Clinton, running from ear to ear. Craving the rain and rain, rekindling the flame. Close to she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you.
Yes, it is. Truth is what you can see. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. And today we're coming to you because you know what day it is. It is Tuesday. And we're coming to you from Georgia's Happy Hog. And you already know it's Tuesday. You already know. You can look behind me. Can you see behind me? Well, let me see. Let me move. See, my package is back there. Of course, I got my hot links. I got my chicken. I got my greens. I got my mac and cheese. I got my lemon cake. And had some extra lemon cake the other day, so I brought it to the gym and turned the girls on to some lemon cake. Brooke and Priscilla were like, "Oh my God, this is delicious!" Like, of course, if I'm eating it, it's good. You know, not to say that I'm a little cocky, but I do know good food when I see it, and I am kind of a food person. I do like food, and I do like eating. So if I say it's good, then by God, it's pretty good, and I like it. So, but anyway, like I said, of course, I'm at Georgia's Happy Hog. If you've never been here, you need to get your butt over here. And it's Georgia's, and they are at 712 Culbertson Drive here in Oklahoma City, just east of Lincoln, south of the state capitol, north of OU Medical Center on Lincoln, and just east of the Harn Homestead. So you have to go left to go to Harn Homestead, or make a right on Culbertson and go there. And for any catering or events, you can phone them at 405-525-8111. And of course, they're open Monday through Saturday from 11 to 7, closed on Sunday because they're doing all the smoking. Anyway, so that's Georgia's Happy Hog. And, you know, I highly recommend going there. And it's just absolutely one of my favorite places. And everybody that I've turned on that had never heard of it, all of a sudden they come to Georgia's. Hey, see, I need to get you an OSU shirt. That shirt you got on is wearing me out. Wearing me slick. Oh, my God. Y'all win a game, y'all get cocky. This is what I'm going to have to deal with all year long. OU wins a game, and I got to deal with it. Then that young lady right there, her son, I trained her son. And really, really proud of him. He is he got a scholarship to Northern. He went to John Marshall, and then he went I went to Centennial. But he started training with me. He was younger, and you know, man, he and my boy Jack Spanier had a barn burner of a game. Both of them, in fact, they were guards together on my team, and they went against each other, Heritage Hall, and then went against each other in the semifinals. Was that 3-4 years ago now? And anyway, so proud of both of those guys, and proud of DJ and his mom. Of course, she always wearing that red. But I want to thank, you know, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. Without them, I would not be here at Georgia's Happy Hog, because they are, of course, a equal housing lender, member of the FDIC. And, of course, they sponsor our remotes for our minority, Black, and women-owned business tours around the Oklahoma City area. So if it wasn't for them, I don't know what we would do. And, of course, you can go to www.ynbok.com to pre-qualify for online for any loans as far as house, cars, or anything like that. That is your place to go. Oh, and, of course, Drew, my boy Drew Hinton, of course, for RVs. You know, I don't really have an RV, so I don't really know what that would be. But Uh, you know, whatever. But anyway, of course, and then of course I'm wearing my boy Jose Fierro, Oak Grove Trucking. So you guys got any t-shirts, anything you want me to wear on the show, by all means hit me up. Give me a t-shirt and I will be more than happy to promote your business through my t-shirts. So wearing your t-shirt, promote your business. Anyway, so appreciate my boy Jose Fierro at Oak Grove Trucking for his contribution to the show and for being one of our sponsors and for this nice t-shirt. It's really comfortable. Love wearing it. Okay, now that all the business being aside, let's get right to the show. This weekend, of course, you know what we had. We had the college football games of the week. College football did start, and we had the games of the week, and of course, UTEP versus OU on Saturday. What a game that was for the Sooners. They stepped on them from the very beginning and never looked back. And I will say they did look good. Their defense looked really, really, really good. They did not do something that I was used to them doing, and that was what? Missing tackles. They tackled, I mean, seamlessly every time you turn around. They remind me of Oklahoma State's defense secondary last year. If you got in the secondary, they made tackles. They did not miss. I want to say that Oklahoma tackled better than I have seen them play in a long, long time, probably since the Venables Stoops era when they just made tackle after tackle, and also Bo Pelini when he was the defensive coordinator, co-defensive coordinator, I guess, with Venables. So I want to congratulate Venables on his first win. What a great deal that he did for the Sooners. They really, really looked they looked good. I will say they looked really good. Then of course Oregon versus Georgia. Drew was right. That was not a game at all. Georgia just stepped on their necks and never looked back. I was like, oh my God, Drew was right. Took the points. He did take the points in there, but Georgia they looked like the number 3 team. But then again, it is a Pac-12 team in Oregon, and it is Oregon, and I don't see them being the 11th ranked team in the country. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. Uh, Georgia, of course, just did whatever they wanted when they wanted. And Stetson did look good, but once again, I think he's an average quarterback, and I believe the coaches believe the same thing. He did get some stuff done, but I believe if Alabama's receivers were not hurt, Alabama would have beat Georgia last year. So we'll see what happens again this year. Now, Notre Dame at Ohio State, that actually ended up being a better game than a lot of people said. I thought it was going to be an interesting game because it was the coach's first game back. First game there, he was the defensive coordinator last year. So I was interested to see how they respond. I thought Notre Dame played really well in the shoe, on the road, in a hostile environment. I think it had been a neutral site, it may have been a little easier for Notre Dame, but it's hard to go into the shoe and get a W in Ohio State. And C.J. Stroud just really, really, really just played well, and he has probably solidified himself, I think, as one of the top vote getters for the Heisman this year because, of course, the winner last year, we won't talk about his name because he's at Alabama. But anyway, last year when you look at him and you look at what they did against the team that they played, I'm just going, man, I'm sorry, Alabama, go play somebody. You know what I'm saying? Go play somebody. You guys are playing nobodies. And I just looked at them and I'm like, man, how do I give you any what do I want to say? How do I give you any credit when you just blew out? I mean, you blew them out. I mean, I'm looking at them and I'm just like, okay, you really didn't play anybody. So this weekend we'll see what they do against Texas, even though I do believe they'll beat Texas. Of course, we'll talk about that more tomorrow as far as who and what Alabama is going to do. But they absolutely just murdered Utah. I mean, it wasn't even – I just can't even give them any love for that because it wasn't a game. OU at least played – I will say that OU, because of who they played, they did exceed my expectations, whereas Alabama did exactly what I thought they were going to do. I don't think they did anything different. They did not impress me in any kind of way because they just beat up on a team that's Utah State. I don't even know what the hell they were doing playing in the first place because it's just like I just don't see it. I mean, I'm sorry. maybe that I'm prejudiced or whatever, or I'm biased, I guess is the best way to put it. But anyway, I thought CJ Stroud solidified himself right now as the leading candidate for the Heisman. Cincinnati and Arkansas, that was a good game. It was everything that I expected it to be between these two teams. Arkansas just looked good, but Cincinnati, I will say that I thought they held themselves pretty. Uh, they held up pretty well. I thought. Okay, like playing Arkansas, I thought they played pretty well. And the one thing I will say about the game is that it was a lot closer than what I thought it should have been. Does that make sense? It was a good game, though. Arkansas, of course, prevailed in that game, 31-24. Arkansas I will say that Cincinnati, when you have a team that's well coached, excuse me, when you have a team that's well coached, it makes a huge difference. But anyway, Arkansas this coming weekend has South Carolina, and you know who plays for them. So that's going to be an interesting matchup next week for Arkansas to see what they can do against them because it's going to be because South Carolina, I thought really looked good, a lot better than what I thought they were going to look. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And you can see that Oklahoma in the power ranking football according to the AP, OU's moved up to number 7 ahead of Notre Dame, and I agree that Notre Dame dropped from 5 to 8. I thought that was good because they did play Ohio State in the shoe, and they gave them all they wanted. Michigan looked fantastic in their win, and so you look at that, it was amazing. Rice against SC, I will say that it was funny because I was talking about how close it was going to be, and I thought how close it was going to be, and at first, and then USC just took off. But they did score 3 defensive touchdowns, which he is known to do. And then, of course, my guy Randy Wright, the commander. That's what we're going to start. Drew and I had to come up with that. We're starting him calling him Commander Wright. Commander Wright just sent me a text. UTEP sucks. They lost to North Texas the week before, and SMU destroyed North Texas 48-10. I still thought that they played okay. UTEP played good, but I thought I was just surprised, Randy. All I'm saying is I was surprised at the way that they played. That's all I was saying, bro. You're taking it to another level. That's all I was saying is that I thought that you out they played better than my expectations. Let's say that they played better than my expectations. I didn't know what to expect from their offense. I figured their defense would be a little bit better. They tackle better, and their offense looked really, really good. But it does help when you have your former offensive coordinator as your offensive coordinator and you bring him over. So that does help immensely. Now, when you go over this, I was talking about, I'm going to go over the top 25. Play Alabama, of course, destroyed. Georgia, destroyed. Ohio State, destroyed. Clemson looked really, really good. Notre Dame, drops, like they said, to number 8, which I'm okay with. Of course, Texas A&M takes their place. OU played really, really well in their deal. And when I look at the deal, OU, when you look at it, go now, it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan jumped all the way up above Clemson, which when you look at that, I look at that and I go, okay, Michigan did look pretty good, I will admit, but to jump over somebody who won, I don't know if I could really go for that. And then, of course, Oklahoma, I have no problem. OU at number 7 up in the rankings. Last week they were number 9. Of course, Baylor moves up. Everybody moves up. Oklahoma State moved up 1, and I like that. SC 10, which I'm okay with. That, if you really want to say that they look that well, but of course they in love with SC. And Oklahoma State, let's face it, gave up way too many points. So, yeah, they got They got jumped. Then when I look at the scope, I look at it. Oregon, they shouldn't even be in. They got demolished. Got demolished, and they're not in the top 20. Which they should not be. They just played terrible. Arkansas, I thought, played well. Like I said, Oklahoma State played really good in the beginning, and then the giving up the 22 points in the fourth quarter, I think, really hurt their chances. But if you're a real, true football person, watching it, you know that it really wasn't that close. At 58-44, it really wasn't that close. That just shows you that the bottom part of their defense, as far as the third and fourth string, are not very good. Giving up that many points, it's just not. That's just unacceptable that OSU can make that many mistakes and give up that many points. Now, I will admit that I did leave the game early, and I went to tailgate. We went to Joe, so I will admit I only watched part second half. Halftime I left to go outside because it's Oklahoma State. You can't leave and come back. Of course, I left and we never came back. We never made it back to the game. We just decided, fine, we're just going to start having fun. We're going to drink. And that's what we did. We drank and we had fun. So that being said, I want everybody to know I am at George's Happy Hog, 712 Culbertson Drive, just east of Lincoln, 2 blocks east of Lincoln on Culbertson. They're open Monday through Saturday from 11 to 7, closed on Sundays. Of course, for any catering events, you can call them at 405-525-8111. And of course, today I am enjoying my usual, man, these flies, boy, they get around you, boy, they just come, they come flying. But of course, today I did do something different. Last week every week I have my hot links because I love my hot links. And then, of course, I had greens. I'm having greens, mac and cheese, because every Tuesday and Friday is mac and cheese. And then, of course, I did a half a chicken today. And their chicken is really, really good because I couldn't decide between light meat, white meat, and dark meat. And, of course, I'm not like my boy Mark Long at SRB. He loves his white meat. And I love the sweetness of the dark meat on the chicken. So that's just how that is. But let's pay some bills right now. I want to thank Collaborative Logic. If you have any IT solutions, those guys are the people, and that was my issue today, which is why I'm on so late. I updated my OBS, and my video card would not support their recording, so I was on it, and I couldn't figure it out, and I tried, couldn't do it, and they remoted in, and within 2 minutes, boom, they said it was one little switch they had to do, and bam, here we are recording live on the air. And I'm like, man, this is just ridiculous. I'm gonna have to just get better at this stuff. But anyway, I want to thank those guys for getting me back on. I should have, the problem is when you go on at 2 on live, if something doesn't work, it doesn't work. But thank God you have those guys at Collaborative Logic. They just remoted in, boom, got me fixed, got me taken care of. Anything also, like I said, my guy Mark Long at SRB. If you have any engineering, surveying, or planning, those are the guys to talk to. They're very good at being behind the scenes. If you got any civil engineering or anything like that, those are the people to go to. Then, of course, I'm wearing the Oak Grove trucking, and my guy Jose Fierro, and he had got his dump trucks back and going up this weekend, worked his butt off to get them up and running, because that's what happens when you have mechanical stuff. Sometimes goes wrong, so you got to do what you got to do to get it fixed. So you want to have any needs as far as rocks, dirt being moved, Oak Grove Trucking is your answer. And then my guys, Greg and Max, Nafi, and Nafco, those are the people you want to talk to. And then once again, YNB, family owned and operated since 1912, the bank that makes things happen. They are an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC. If you have any loan needs, you can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. If you got any needs for any cars, houses, you want to come in and you want to refinance, if you want to come in and you want to buy some houses so you can flip them, or you want to buy some commercial property to build a building or anything like that, those are your people that you want to get with. They can handle any of that. That's YNB, and of course, we want to thank them because if it wasn't for them, we would not be out and about here at Georgia's because they are sponsoring us to go out into the Oklahoma City area and we do live remotes in any minority, women, and black-owned businesses in the Oklahoma City area. So we want to thank YNB for their sponsorship of that. And then I was kind of thinking my boy Drew Henthorne was going to be on, but HuskerDrewPicks.com. But he sent me his picks for the day. The Yankees minus 94, the money line minus 194. Of course, the Yankees are my team. They are rolling right now. And Aaron Judge, he's just killing it. I mean, when I look at his numbers and what Aaron Judge has been doing this year, it is absolutely amazing. And I had it the other night, and I was going to say something about his numbers, which are just absolutely incredible what Aaron Judge is doing right now. I mean, he is just on fire, just killing it in the majors. And of course, they're going to have to make a decision this year because what? This is the last year, and he is a free agent after this year. So this is what Aaron Judge is doing thus far. He's leading the major leagues in home runs at 54, runs batted in at 117, runs 109, on base percentage 1.085. Wow. Extra base hits 76, on base slugging plus 201, total bases 330, and BOR is 8.2. So he is on fire. The Yankees need to go ahead and make him the highest paid baseball player in the history of baseball, if not the highest paid athlete in sports. Braves, of course, minus 227. They are chasing those amazing Mets. But as Derek Jeter, the captain, says, they are the Mets. Kind of like Laker fans say about the Clippers. They are the Clippers. So we'll see what happens. And, of course, the Mets and Pirates, Drew has them at over 8. Rangers and the Stros over 7.5. And, of course, you can go to HuskerDrewPicks.com and get any of this information that I just gave you. By all means, go and do that. Man, that's a mouthful today. But I want to apologize to everybody. My sister was taken off the ventilator, so it's been a long couple days for me. I usually don't share my personal stuff on social media, but anyway, that's why I was only on for a short time Friday, and then yesterday we were off. So today we're not going to make it the 4 hour, but we'll make it as long as we can because unlike some of the other shows on Sports Animal and things like that, I don't have somebody that can come in and sub for me. So it is what it is right now until we can get a studio and get everything set up the way that we ultimately are going to do, where I can just have somebody come in and do the show separately from me, whether I'm here or not. And then there's no way for us to replay any shows on Facebook. You can go to, I guess I could come up and go through my shows and figure out which some good shows and then have you guys replay those or have you go to the, YouTube, which of course I need for you guys to do is go to YouTube or Twitch. And if you go to YouTube, you search the Unpopular Hour, Matt Clark, and it will pop up and you subscribe and like the shows and hit notification. And then you will get notified every time that we are on the air. So, by all means, please do that. I would appreciate any help that you guys can get as far as subscribing and hit notifications and like. So that being said, I hope you guys be able to go to YouTube. And of course, we are on Twitch as well. But most of my people are, of course, on Facebook and they watch me live. So if we can start getting people to drive there, because eventually we want to have a full setup to where we do have our own show, our own hour, and everything where you can just go in and we can look at it live. We have some big plans coming up for the end of this year and the start of next year, doing some shows and doing more of a live remote, and then having, like I said, our plan is to have phone-ins where you guys can call in and have any questions or anything you might want to ask myself. And then when Drew of HuskerDrewPicks.com can be on air with me, you can do that. And of course, we're going to start having more guests every week on the show. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So anyway, let's get into the NFL news. Of course, Jason Peters joins the Cowboys in their practice squad, which means they're just giving him some reps on the practice squad till he can learn the system and then get in. And of course, he will be their feature left tackle. But when you look at some of the things that the Cowboys have done by letting go Lionel Collins and then not re-signing Amari Cooper, they have made some really bonehead moves this year for $20 million. I don't understand why they didn't sign Amari, losing, not having any wide receivers. Plus, that was Dak Prescott's safety blanket. And without him, the question is Dak Prescott has not played well. So the Cowboys are saying, okay, for you to get a future contract, we're going to see if you can just put the team on your back. They paid him $75 million last year. So we'll see what Dak can and can't do. And of course, shockingly, Kenny Pickett moved to number 2. And I'm being facetious. Shockingly, Kenny Pickett was moved ahead of Mason Rudolph as number 2 on the Steelers quarterback depth chart. Shocking. But I do believe that the Steelers have made the right move, leaving Mitch Trubisky as the starting quarterback, especially they got to play Cincy the first game of the year on the road. I think that's a perfect way to do it because Mitch Trubisky does have experience playing teams on the road when he was at the Bears. So I do believe, and I think last year helped him sitting last year. I think it helped him be a backup, watching the game and seeing things. And it's like the same thing I said with Chet. I think it's going to help the Thunder and help him as well by sitting on the bench, watching where he can slide in and where he can help. So, but anyway, Kenny Pickett moved to number 2 on the Steelers quarterback depth chart. I can't talk. Forgive me, everyone. And the NFL power rankings, number 1 of the Bills, number 2 of the Packers, which I don't see how they're number 2. And we will be going over the Packers schedule here in a little bit, and you can see what I see. I don't see the Packers being number 2. I just don't see it. I don't understand why they're that high. Rams number 3. I think they should be number 2. Chiefs should be number 3. Buccaneers Buccaneers are number 5. Chargers are 6. Bengals are 7. And a lot of times I watch Colin today, and he's in love with somebody's either in love with Josh with Joe, and which he should. But like I said, Joe Burrow. Like I said, we'll see what he does when everybody's looking for him. Nobody was looking for them to do what they did, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They got really, really lucky, and sometimes you do have to be there. The Chargers still have not sold me. They would have been in the playoff last year if their coach would have understood what an extra a field goal is, and he did not understand what the hell a field goal was. The Niners, number 8, their defense, offensive line, running game, coach, they do pose a problem for people. I think that they are going to be tight, and of course that Rams, Niners, NFC West is just as good. I mean, almost as the AFC West. The difference is they have 3 teams. I think the Cardinals are a lot better than what people are going to give them credit for. Of course, the Ravens are number 9. Man, they looked really good last year. They were 5-2. Now, remember, they beat the Chiefs after Patrick Mahomes threw the stupidest interception out of every one of the stupid. He made some bonehead plays last year. Threw an interception that cost him that game, lost a fumble against the Bengals when the games were in hand. Both of those completely turned the tide and caused the Chiefs 2 L's, and I will give him that. Because when you play great, I'm going to say you play great. When you don't do well, you don't do well, and I'll call you out on that as well. And as a player, when you suck and when you did something stupid. You can't get mad. You just got to own up and fix it. You can't just get mad and try to deny it and, get your feelings all hurt and all that nonsense. Just admit I screwed up, I messed up, and you fix it. So anyway, the Broncos are the number 10. I think that they're a team. I just don't know how well they will start, considering that they have a new quarterback, new system. Now, I do believe at the end of the year they'll be very formidable after everybody gets used to everybody, but you have to have reps. You have to have games under your belt, and I just believe that you have to do that. So the NFL news, that's what we have. Jason Peters to the Cowboys, which is going to help them on the offensive line and protect Dak, because as we know, when he's fidgety about what's coming in the backside, he does not does not fare well. So we shall see how that works. And then when I look at the NFL schedule, of course, here are the two teams that we're previewing from the NFC North. Well, let me just go to the NFC North because these are the teams that we are per the NFC North. Of course, is the Vikings, the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions. So that is the NFC North, and we're going to preview the schedule for and the Green Bay Packers. That's who we're starting off with this day. And then tomorrow we'll go through a couple more so we can get through because we're almost through this year. Because remember, NFL starts on Thursday. So, and of course, tomorrow we'll preview what's coming up because Thunder Thursdays is more about basketball than it is about anything. But of course, we will have to squeeze some football in there. So here we go. The Green Bay Packers schedule. I have them going 11-6, and these are the teams that they play. Here are the games that I think they'll win and they'll lose. Uh, I do believe they're going to get an L. I do believe they're going to start out the year playing the Vikings away. I do believe the Vikings are going to upset the Packers. That's just kind of how I look at it. Even though Aaron Rodgers is today's version of Peyton Manning, great during the season, and they're not so great in the playoffs. But he does have a couple Super Bowls, so you can't really say anything about that. And Aaron still has one. So even though he's had multiple opportunities to go playing at home, but then what can we say? Patrick Mahomes is 2-2, playing NFC or AFC championship games at Arrowhead. He's 2-2. And he should be 4-0 because last year you have 21-3 and you had that fumble and you just, they were playing not to lose instead of playing to win. That's kind of how I thought was what they happened to the Chiefs. So anyway, and a lot of it has to do with Joe Burrow and the explosiveness of of Cincinnati. But that's how I look at those two deals. But here are the schedules. I think the Minnesota Vikings are scarier than what people give them credit for. When I go back and we did our power rankings earlier in the year, I did have Green Bay. But the more I look at the teams, man, I just don't know if the Packers can get it done. Whereas the Vikings, I think they have defense, they have offense, they have a running game, they have a passing attack. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins, I do like what they have to offer there in Minnesota. So I have the Vikings going 12-5, and so that has a lot to do with it to me. I do believe that it's going to be closer than what people actually think in that race and in that division. And then when you look at the other two people in that division, I just look at it and I just can't get too excited because the Bears, Justin Fields, yes, the Bears have no offensive line. They barely have receivers for him to throw to. He's going to be running for his life. They've got to shore it up, and you've got a quarterback that has some ability, but he's going to get his brains beat out, and he's going to lose his confidence if you don't do something for him. Whereas the Lions, defensively, I think they're fine. They do have some skill positions. As far as running back, they do have some receivers. Their defense is going to be strong with Aiden Hutchinson. But the quarterback, once again, he didn't work at the Rams. I don't have a lot of confidence in him. Jared Goff, I just don't. I don't see how he's going to lift them up because I think they have a good team. But once again, I applaud them for what they did with Matt Stafford, letting him out of there, giving him a chance to go win a Super Bowl because he was really, 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 really good for them for a long time. Now, let's not get it twisted. He did have Calvin Johnson trying to throw to, so it ain't like that now he has Cooper Cup and Jefferson, and then of course he had OBJ. So he does have some receivers to throw to there in the Rams, but better offensive coordinator, better team, better defensively. So he's in a much, much better place. So I do give the Lions a lot of credit for allowing him to go to a team to give him a chance to win a Super Bowl, which of course he did. And I'm happy for him that he did that. But like I said, when I look at this division, I just don't see it's the Packers and the Vikings. And when you said I look at their records, and I just said the Vikings away, Packers, I'll just go through the Packers schedule. I think they'll lose to the Vikings, beat the Bears, lose to the Buccaneers, beat the Patriots, beat the Giants, beat the Jets, beat the Commanders, lose to the Bills, beat the Lions, beat the Cowboys, lose to the Titans because I don't think they're going to be able to stop their running game. Uh, excuse me. Beat the Titans, lose to the Eagles, beat the Bears, lose to the Rams, beat the Dolphins, beat the Vikings. And, okay, take that back. I got them losing. I had to go back to what do I have? Vikings lost, Bears win, Buccaneers lost. I've got them beating the Patriots, beating the Giants, beating the Jets. I think they'll lose to the Bills. I got them losing to the Commanders, losing to the Eagles, and losing to the Rams. So that's where I got them losing to. So I got them with 6 L's, and then the Packer on the other side for the Vikings. I've got them losing to the Eagles on the road. I think they'll lose that. I think they'll win. The Packers, I think they'll win the Lions. I think they'll lose to the Saints. They'll beat the Bears. They will lose to the Dolphins, beat the Cardinals, beat the Commanders, lose to the Bills, beat the Cowboys, beat the Patriots, beat the Jets, beat the Lions, uh, beat the Colts, beat the Giants, lose to the Packers away, and beat the Bears. So I think that's their 5 L's because they run the ball well and they do everything that they need to do to get W. So anyway, that's kind of my overall deal. Like I said, 11-6, 12-5. And when I looked at my playoff predictions, the way that Drew and I had it, Drew Hinthorn, of course, of HuskerDrewPicks.com, when we first did it, we had the AFC North, the Bengals, the Bills, the Titans, and the Chiefs, which I still don't change. The AFC North, I may slide the Ravens in there maybe over the Bengals, but right now this is where I have it. Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, even though Drew has the Ravens instead of the Raiders because he doesn't believe 4 AFC teams are going to get in, and he's probably right about that. But so anyway, that's the only way we disagree is I have the Raiders, he has the Ravens. But I think it would be the Ravens if I have to change it. The Ravens beating the Bengals and the Bengals sliding in over the Raiders. So I may change that based on what I'm seeing as far, but I'll wait till the season and then kind of see what's going to happen. Because I want to see at least one NFL. I want to see them all play at least one game to see how they play as a group. NFC, of course, we have the Packers, which I think is now going to be the Vikings, not them. The East, I think it's going to be the Eagles, not the Cowboys. South, Tampa Bay, I think they're going to handle their business. Rams West, and then I agree with this, except I think it's going to be 49ers, Green Bay, and then and then the Cowboys. That's kind of how I've got it mixed up. I think you got to switch that. I think I'm going to switch the Eagles and Cowboys and Vikings and Green Bay. I think I'm switching up both of those picks in my overall. If I have to go back and change it, I think that's kind of how I'm going to do it and how we'll do it. So that being said, I want to thank everybody for watching this edition of the Unpopular Hour. Of course, I'm your host, Matt Clark. And once again, I apologize for us being a little short today, but a little distracted with some family issues. Once again, I want to thank YNB for their sponsorship. The family owned and operated since 1912. The bank that makes things happen. Of course, they are an equal housing lender, a member of the FDIC. So if you have any loans, go ahead and pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com. That's www.ynbok.com. So go ahead and pre-qualify for any loans. We want to thank them for their sponsorship, for us allowing us to be out and about, and that's what they do is they help sponsor us on our remote broadcast for all the minority, women, and black-owned businesses in Oklahoma City. So I want to thank them for their sponsorship and allowing us to be at these locations, and especially today since we are at George's Happy Hog, which they, of course, are at 712 Culbertson Drive, just east of Lincoln. They open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 7. And for any catering or events, you can contact them at 405 525 8111. And so for any of that, and then, of course, all of our other sponsors, Collaborative Logic, if you have any IT solutions, there are needs, they are your people to call. SRB for any engineering, surveying, or planning. Oak Grove Trucking. Of course, I'm wearing that shirt today. And then NAFCO with Greg and Max Nafee. And then my guy, Drew Henthorne of Husker, DrewPicks.com. Once again, here are his hot picks of the day. The Yankees, money line minus 194. The Braves, money line minus 227. The Mets and the Pirates, over 8. And the Rangers and the Stros, over 7.5. Man, I'd love to be able to go to Minute Maid right now. I bet it's going to be a beautiful day down there in Houston since it's been raining. And just glad that everybody is okay in Texas and other the hard hit areas of the United States because of flooding. I have been involved in flooding before. It is a scary, scary thing when you are in bed and you hear this and you're like, what is that? And it wakes you up in the middle of the night. And you go outside, or you go into the living room, and water's coming in your front door, and you're like, "What in the hell?" And you look out, and you can't see anything in the parking lot of your condos because your car, all the cars you can just see is the top of all the cars. And so that was a scary, scary moment for me. So my heart does go out to these people, and I can completely understand what you were going through at that particular point. So that being said, we'll be back on tomorrow for Women Only Wednesday. And once again, it's going to be a crazy week for me. So everybody just be patient with me this week. And just your prayers are helpful to my family, to my sisters and brothers, nieces and nephews. The prayers would be greatly appreciated. So if everybody can be patient this week, I'm sure everything will be better next week to get back into the groove. So that being said, thank you for watching this edition of the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. Everybody